Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video this week. In this week's video, we're going to be going through 10 radio controlled cars and ranking them from beginner all the way to pro. Two steps that we're going to have from beginner is going to be intermediate, then advanced, and then lastly pro. So what I want you to think about is all these radio controlled vehicles that we're going to go through today, categorize them yourself as to where you would place them, in which rank you would provide. Everyone has different opinions and I want to hear yours in the comment section below. Let's start off and talk about our very first radio control car that fits right into the beginner rank here today. And that is a radio control car that's been on the channel years ago and it has been on the channel very recently as well. And that is the Latrax Teton. This is a great radio control car for any beginner. Everything that you need is included right in the box. It comes with nickel metal hydride batteries and its own charger, which make it very simple to go and charge up your batteries. It's very difficult to go and screw something up with those packs. There's not much maintenance that's really required for these batteries, and just overall, it's such a great vehicle for any beginner. The car is fairly quick for its 1/18 scale size. It uses a brushed motor as well, and it does have an all-wheel drive power system. All of these things make it perfect to fit in at the number 1 spot here on our list today. Coming in at the number 2 spot is the Traxxas 1/10 scale Rustler using a brushed motor and is ready to run. Now this particular vehicle uses nickel metal hydride batteries, which is something that I would recommend if you're just getting in and breaking into the hobby for the first time. The Traxxas Rustler is definitely a step up from the Latrax Teton that we just spoke about. You're gonna hit about 35 miles an hour on the nickel metal hydride battery packs. This is a great introduction to a radio control model that can now hit speeds that you travel on your typical city streets. The next vehicle that we have on the list has also been ranked as a beginner-friendly radio control vehicle. However, this one comes in at the number 3 spot on our list, and that is the Traxxas 1/10 scale Summit ready to run. All 3 of these radio control beginner cars that appeared on our list today, I've handed that transmitter over to someone who's young and new to the hobby, and the Traxxas Summit seems to be the one that is more challenging just because of its overall size, and if you do make a mistake and end up hitting something, there can be some damage from that. Don't ask me how I know. The damage that I was talking about was not actually done to the Traxxas Summit. That truck is actually quite bulletproof and handles a ton of abuse. The only real way that you can actually damage something on this truck is by doing things in excess. The Traxxas Summit uses a 2-speed transmission where you essentially have your high-speed gear and then you have a very slow crawler type gear. This makes it perfect if you want to operate a monster truck at top speed, and believe me, it is a handful at top speed. On the flip side of it, you can go into that crawl mode and experience some very slow operation where you can test your skills in crawling up some off-road type terrain. Now coming in at the number 4 spot in our very first intermediate classification is the 1/8 scale Arrma Felony. This is a 3S radio control vehicle that operates on the BLX brushless power system. Now being a 1/8 scale is one of the unique things about this that I absolutely love. I'm a big fan of the 1/8 scale size, which makes it very easy to see at a distance relative to the smaller radio control vehicles. I believe it's that great mix between size and handling capabilities. This is also the very first radio control car on our list that is pretty well optimized for lithium polymer battery packs only. And this one takes a 3S, so it's a jump up into that maintenance level that you now have to learn about. How do you treat a lithium polymer battery packs? What do you do? What do you don't do with them? How do you charge them? All these things are quite important as you step up to bigger and better radio control vehicles. The next car on our list, coming in at the number 5 spot and also classified as in the intermediate ranking, is going to be the 1/10 scale Arrma Kraton. This thing is powered by a 4S lithium polymer battery pack utilizing the BLX brushless power system. This particular model, even though it's classified as a 1/10 scale monster truck, which is essentially what the Traxxas Summit's classification was as well, this one performs very different than the Summit. The 4S Kraton will be very capable of hitting 50 miles per hour. And when you start getting up to that 50 mile per hour speed range there, that's quite a handful for someone who hasn't hit those top speeds yet before. Next on our list is the very first radio control car that was in our advanced category or advanced rank, and that is the 1/8 scale Arrma Vendetta. Now the big reason why this actually makes its way into the next rank is because of its top speed. This is capable of hitting 70 miles per hour when absolutely set up and tuned well. Otherwise, expect to see at least a minimum of 60 plus miles per hour out of this vehicle. And what I can say is at these speeds, you have to make sure that you know what you're doing when you pick up that transmitter. One wrong move at top speed and you can be left with a box of parts requiring a complete rebuild. What's really interesting is the Vendetta actually operates on a 3S lithium polymer battery pack, which is actually a step back from what we just spoke about in our previous radio control vehicle. Just because we're operating on a 3S battery pack in this instance does not mean you do not get the performance that you should expect. This thing absolutely flies. Next on our list, coming in at the number 7 spot and also being ranked as an advanced category here, is the 1/7 scale Felony. This particular model comes as a 6S ready to run version, brushless power system, and very capable of 80 plus miles per hour. This is a ton of speed for anyone who's never hit that speed yet before. Not only does this radio control car rip, but it looks stunning as well. The power system for this radio control car is already selected and set up for you. All you need to do is select the batteries that you're going to use, grab a charger to make sure you can charge them up, and you're ready to go. Don't forget to pick battery packs that can handle and is up to the challenge that this radio control car demands. At 80 miles per hour, you're going to be pulling a ton of power in order to accelerate up to that top speed. The next radio control car on our list is the very first that is going to be classified as a pro version radio control car. And this one is at the number 8 spot, the Traxxas XO-1. Now what's really interesting about this car is it was actually introduced about a decade ago. And I remember when this car was introduced thinking how easy it is to now hit 100 miles per hour, which I thought was completely crazy at that time. Nonetheless, this car hits 100 miles per hour, which you obviously need to have a good amount of skill to be able to control and track in a straight line. What makes this particular model different than the ones that we're going to talk about here very shortly is that you don't need to go and pick out the power system for it. Everything here is done. The only thing that you have to do is grab the battery packs that you wish to use. If you want to actually unlock that top speed, there is some minor adjustments and tuning that you will have to do, more specifically with the gearing selection. When you start getting into these high performance radio control cars, even some of the ones that we just spoke about in the advanced classification, you want to start paying attention to the temperatures of the motor and the speed control and the battery pack that you guys end up selecting. What you want to make certain is that you're not exceeding any of the thermal maximums that you would expect. These thermal limitations can be found in the manufacturer's manual that they provide you with for either the motor speed control or the battery pack themselves. Coming in as the next pro model that we're going to be talking about and in at the number 9 spot is the 1/5 scale Kraton. Now this specific Kraton comes as a roller, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So not only do you have to have the skill to operate such a massive and heavy radio control car, but you need to have the knowledge and skills to put it all together. Not only is there some assembly required, we're going to have to nail a few things together, but you're going to have to pick out the power system to get this thing moving. This means the brushless motor, speed control, and lithium polymer battery pack is required for you to select to drop into this rolling chassis. Now there is a jump in skill that's required for you to actually select the power system used in this particular radio controlled model. If you don't make the right selections and you get something incorrect like the kV of a motor or the wrong gearing used, this might leave you with a big cloud of smoke that comes out from one of these components. And all that is going to do is literally burn a hole in your wallet. So this is why this comes in at the number 9 spot. Now talking about the number 10 spot, this is none other than the Arrma Limitless. This is a vehicle that is meant for all-out speed, and we've seen already a few videos talking about this Arrma Limitless. A lot of popularity has grown in recent years to hit a top speed with a radio-controlled car. Essentially what you do with these speed runs is you make only a single pass or two and you bring it back in. This makes it very different than the 1/5 scale Kraton that we have just spoken about. Not only do you have to pick the power system for this particular radio controlled car and the voltage that you wish to use with the entire power system, but you have to be able to handle an intense amount of speed. This vehicle is advertised to go over 100 miles per hour, but there's tons of examples out there on YouTube that show that it's very capable of being stable at 140, 150 miles per hour, and there's many guys even pushing this beyond that 150 mile per hour mark. This makes it an absolute necessity to place this radio controlled car right there at the number 10 spot, being pro ranked. And if you want to see an Arrma Limitless build, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel, as we have one that's currently in progress. Parts are on the way and I can't wait to get this thing together. Well guys, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, like the video if you did. Don't forget to hit that sub button so that I can see you in that next video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.